Hey, I'm back. This is like it literally has no topic or anything, but Kristen, Sarah, if you're watching, come back, come back, come back. I want to have chats. And for anybody else too, I completely forgot to ask for questions and answers. I'm still learning, so we'll get there. But I'm just gonna be here and I'm gonna message Kristen and Sarah as we're live and tell them to come back on and talk to me. And that's what I'm doing right now. Kristen, Sarah, please come back into live. Awesome. So does anyone have any questions about uncertainty, change? I have a few other awesome quotes. So I'm just going to put them up and read them. So here's another one. Here's one by Eric Fromm, who's a psychologist. The quest for certainty blocks the search for meaning. Uncertainty is the very condition to impel man to unfold his powers, right? That was super powerful. The other one I had was, of course, Brene Brown. Vulnerability is basically uncertainty, risk, and emotional exposure. That one's super powerful, right? I almost want to talk a little bit more about that while I wait for my friends to come back because I told them they needed to come back on. And yay! Hi, Kristen. How are you? Let me know if you want to come on video. I would love to have you on video. Any of you, I would love to have you on video. Let me know if you want to come back on. But what we were talking about is Brene Brown. Vulnerability is basically uncertainty, risk, and emotional exposure. And I think, that's where the problem with uncertainty comes in these days, right? Because we all know that things are uncertain in life and that we expect uncertainty, but it's really that vulnerability of showing that's where we have a problem, because somehow vulnerability is a weakness in society. Just like, high productivity and making 70K in 2 weeks and writing a book in the next 5 days. And because, hey, COVID-19, this is about discipline, not about time, whatever. Yeah, I'm going to get animated about that. Sorry. I have a lot of feelings about that. But it's interesting to me that vulnerability is seen as a weakness and not as a strength. That's one of the things that I hope to help with my services. And I hope that you guys reach out to me and let me know if you have any questions about my services or what I'm coming up with. Anyone have any questions for now? Otherwise, are we just going to drink orange juice? But we're going to pretend. I need to figure out how to take these off of the YouTube channels and everything, but I'll do that later. The other thing I also wanted to mention earlier, which I forgot to do, is my TV show is not like this at all. I do have a TV show coming up. It is going to be a lot more scripted, and we are going to have guest experts on it. And it's completely about the leadership code. Kristen, I got orange juice, dude. It's orange juice, but it'll do. I've been drinking a lot of juice in COVID-19 because I overstocked, and yeah. Oh, that's a great question. What do you wish people knew more? I don't know how to get this across without sounding sort of preachy, Ashley, but I really, really wish people knew how much power they're just giving away by not being proactive and by not using the power in the way they need to. And I mean that in so many ways, right? Like, I mean that in terms of mindset, in terms of learning and growth, in terms of letting others dictate expectations of who they think we should be, in terms of what success is defined as in our society, in terms of what productivity is, defined as in our society, even in terms of like what self is defined as in our society, and the idea of like self-care versus self-soothing. I really wish people knew how much agency they actually have to change their inner world, if not their outer world. And that investing in changing that inner world is exponentially beneficial into anything you put to the outside. That would be the biggest thing I wish people knew more. And what I really mean by that is invest in yourself. Don't invest in, I mean, if you want to invest in things and all of that, I'm not judging, but investing in yourself is always going to be beneficial. Hey, Sarah, how are you? Not drinking now. I'm drinking orange juice. So cheers. Oh, and my Siri just said something, but I don't know what it said. But yeah, there. Are there any other questions? Anyone want to? Sarah, do you want to come on video with me? I feel like I just put her on the spot, but that's okay. While I'm waiting, I do want to tell you about a few ways in which nope. Oh, okay. Got it. We're not going to ask you to come out yet. A few ways in which COVID-19 has, and really everything going on has affected my uncertainty and how I've changed. So when this whole pandemic and global crisis really came out, my business was doing really well. I mean, I'm sure all of you saw messages about that. I wasn't even trying to brag. I was literally sort of marking my progress, and it was awesome. Great progress. I was going places that I couldn't even imagine before, but my cup wasn't getting filled. I just wasn't feeling happy. And this pandemic that happened helped me realize that the reason I wasn't feeling happy is because somewhere along the way, I just got like 1 degree deviated from my values. You see, my original values were, when I got into this entrepreneurial business, went into this lane, it was about creating positive impact. Hey, Josh. Oh my gosh, I haven't talked to you for so long. I'm so glad you're here. Thank you for joining. Kristen, I'm going to look into that and let you know more. I don't know the answer to how to host a watch party. This is a new platform for me. So I will definitely get back to you on that. Thank you, Sarah. Yeah, me too. I'm really glad I got the minute to pause and figure it out, because it was in the face of this uncertainty, this calamity, this catastrophic exponential trajectory of people getting sick, people getting affected, all of this stuff. And my whole thing was like, okay, why am I not happy? Because my cup wasn't getting filled. My cup wasn't getting filled because when I originally got into this entrepreneurial business, it wasn't just about me uplifting myself. It was about the impact I could have. It was about how I could serve people. And it was about the tangible impact and the benefit that I could have for my network, for everybody that knew me, for everybody that wanted to reach out to me. So what COVID-19 and this pandemic did was it really made me realign with my values, my core values of belongingness, of inclusion, of mutual benefit, and of service and impact. And so I ended up like creating this like referral program, which a lot of people, I've gotten some really great feedback from this referral program. So if this referral program is something that I've talked to you about, I would love to hear what your thoughts are on it. But I've essentially created this program where I get to not only help people with their personal and professional development, I get to tangibly give money back to people that need it. And I can tangibly say, thank you. Since you're helping me pay my bills as a small business owner, here's how I can help you pay your bills. So I'd love to have a conversation about that, but that's like a whole different conversation. But that's what it compelled me to do. It compelled me to create an entire compassionate entrepreneur program because I realized it wasn't just me. I realized there's a lot of us that don't want to be sharks, that don't want to, that still want to sell and be profitable and pay our bills, but have a social impact and a social change. So I've actually created like 5 programs, not just the one. Reach out to me if you're interested. Kristen has a question. How do you think the collective vulnerability will affect the way the world works? Vulnerability used to be peppered into society depending on who wanted to show it. Now we're in the same boat globally. That's a really amazing question, Kristen, because, and this is something we are going to be covering in greater detail in the Sip and Learn next Wednesday, April 15th at 8 p.m. with neuroscientist, PhD, neuroscience expert, Dr. Sloka Iyengar, and we're going to be talking about resilience. As it turns out, vulnerability and resilience are deeply tied in to each other because while we think the more armored we can make ourselves and the more protected we can make ourselves, that's how we're going to be resilient. No, the more you lean into vulnerability, the more you lean into the discomfort of vulnerability, and the more you explore the meaning of it and what it can mean to you and the impact you can have with it, that's what determines your bounce back. But we're going to talk more about that in that workshop. But what I'll say here is that there are 4 types of resilience. Community resilience is one of them, and that is deeply tied into collective vulnerability. So I think Sarah is absolutely right, which, I mean, considering she is a psychiatrist, I'm really thankful she chimed in on that. And she said, I think the global vulnerability is showing off who is actually strong and who is actually weak. We yanked off the mask. And I think that's absolutely right. I think what has happened to us collectively has not only highlighted collective societal group leadership gaps, belongingness gaps, dynamic gaps, us versus thems, all of those. I think it's also highlighted who we are wanting to be or who we're presenting as on a very individual level. So I think the individual vulnerability built into that collective vulnerability. And because people are still grappling with their individual vulnerability, things seem unclear and unsure on the societal level, but they're actually not that unclear or unsure. I think this is an incident where one, and I've said this before, an invisible little pathogen has made so much visible, right? I mean, if you think about it, this is the first time I've at least ever heard in the national mainstream rhetoric about this whole sentiment of, I'm not worried about getting it. I'm just afraid I'm going to give it to somebody who's more vulnerable than I am, right? We had these conversations in our little closed pockets before, our closed pockets of immunocompromised people, our closed pockets of parents with kids who were immunocompromised, or close pockets of cancer survivors. But now this is a part of mainstream dialogue. This was a sentiment that made the majority of responsible citizens sit their butts at home and participate in these types of like virtual conversations, because otherwise they would all be at a restaurant or a bar right now, right? So it's that sentiment of, it's not just about me. What I do has a tangible impact on literally somebody else's life, their life or death. That's become a part of mainstream dialogue. And so I think while we are trying to be all like, I don't know, whatever you want to call it, macho or strong or whatever, we are actually showing our compassion and our vulnerability, and we need to lean into that, because we are in the same boat globally, like Kristen said, and this invisible pathogen has yanked off the mask, right? So let's work together and actually build a stronger future for our kids and our future generations, and crap, for ourselves. Like, I mean, hi, I would like to have a better future like 1 year from now, just globally speaking. Like, I love the fact that clean air is coming back because nobody's driving their cars. I love the fact that the Midwest is leading on flattening the curve. I love all of these sort of little trends. But if we actually work together and lean into our humanity and lean into that collective sense of belongingness, we can make a greater impact. There's no leadership stopping us. So why are we stopping ourselves? That would be my big question to everybody, you know? Teal pumpkins. Yep, exactly. Oh my gosh. Yeah. All the people that make fun of people at Halloween for having teal pumpkins, now you know how it feels to go about normal life and risk your life. Yes to the clean air, and amen to neighbors reaching out to help neighbors. Absolutely, 100%. Well, change is uncomfortable. And I think, Sarah, you know this, because change is uncomfortable because our brain likes the routine. Our brain likes the automation. Our brains like being able to send things into like the deeper parts instead of having to do executive functioning. And that's why it's uncomfortable, is because our brains have to work more, and that expends more energy, and that makes us exhausted. And then there's all of these other feelings and stories and everything else tied into it. But change means growth. And, you know, like there's a reason there's a saying called growing pains, right? I mean, there was a whole show around that. We won't get into that. That's a whole different conversation. But yes, change is uncomfortable, but we can also guide that change by stepping into that discomfort and saying, you know, let me create these little dams for this river. Post-traumatic growth. Oh, wow. Exactly. How do I handle ambiguity? Josh, that is a great question. Tell me more. What do you mean by that? Because that's actually two parts, right? It's is it the fact that the communication coming to you from the outside is ambiguous, or you're getting clear communication, but you can't make a decision because of your belief systems and because of your reality? Those are two different things, right? So that's why I was asking you, tell me more about it. If it's the thing that the messaging coming from the outside, from external forces, is ambiguous, that's actually good, because external stuff is always going to be ambiguous. You're never going to have 100% information on that. So in those cases, you just got to be yourself. That's no change. Now, if that ambiguity is coming in because of your belief systems that got challenged, and you are not able to sort of make a decision, then you need to sit down and think about, is this a belief system or is this the truth of my life? Because those are different things. Beliefs change, you know? And I say that with full candidness for my friends who are on this chat with me. They know my beliefs have changed. They'll be the first people to tell you my beliefs have changed over the course of my life. But the truths of my life haven't changed, right? Those go beyond the belief system. So if this ambiguity is internal, really sitting down and understanding truth versus belief systems, right? And I'm going to give you a very concrete example. What I went through as an entrepreneur when COVID-19 happened. I was making good money. I wasn't happy. I was following all of the prescribed entrepreneurial rules and systems, and I wasn't happy. And what it boiled down to was that the truth of my life, my values, my core values that I strive for, and who I want to be as a person, that go far beyond my belief systems. They go into the core of who I am as like a human being. Those were the ones that were coming in conflict with these belief systems of this is how you should be as an entrepreneur. This is how you should focus on. This is how you need to market. This is how you need to sell. This is how you need to objection handle. This is how you need to make money as an entrepreneur. All of those felt wrong with this internal feeling of me, of like who I am, who I was, who I wanted to be as a human being. It didn't jive. And so for me, that was a fundamental difference between, that's where I knew my ambiguity was, and that's where I needed to focus, is what are my expectations of me? What is my truth? Who do I want to be? And what are other people telling me that I should do that I'm just going to follow? Once I cleared out that ambiguity, I was just having this conversation earlier. I created an entire new business model and like 5 new programs in the span of 9 days. And all the while still seeing clients, recording my episodes, doing these live streams, and whatever else that I've been doing, you know? So once what I really wanted became clear, my decision became clear, regardless of other people's communications. So I hope that helps, Josh. Yeah, live events do break you down to the fundamental truths. I completely agree with that, Kristen. Hi, Kadeen. Thank you so much for joining in. I think I've been on here long enough, and thank you for reaching out with the questions. If you have any more, don't hesitate to reach out to me personally. And I just want to point out, like, my favorite little plaque that's up there. It says, "You are free to choose. You are not free from the consequence of your choice." That is something that is a great reminder for me every single day. That is something I really live by. And I choose to stand in my truth and walk my truth and live my values and be my authentic self every single day, even if that means brain fog, even if that means disconnected sentences. This is who I am in my real life, and this is what you get. And that's what I apply to my business too. And that's how I deal with uncertainty and change and ambiguity. So I'll be back on probably Monday, if not sooner, with another topic. Thank you. Thank you, Kristen. So it took like 3 months, but I finally got it. I love it too. I love it too. And that right there is an incomplete painting that I did. And it reminds me of the possibilities that could go into it, which is why I could never complete it. And I put it up there so that as soon as I walk in, that's the first thing I see. And whenever I'm on video, that's what's behind me, is the possibilities and the potential. So last plugin, April 15th, 8 p.m., Sip and Learn, workshop on resilience. It's on my page. Sign up for it. I have a free workshop, a free mindset support hours going for frontline healthcare practitioners, any kind of healthcare practitioner. If you are one and you know one and you just need help with your mindset, this is a free service. Please come talk to me, share it with whomever you want. I do have the referral program going as well that I know some of you know about. And as of next week, the healthcare practitioner free sessions are going to be extended to all essential workers. I'm literally building the infrastructure capacity right now, which is why I'm not able to offer it immediately, but I will have hours for all essential workers. You are all heroes. And if you need mindset support, I'm here for you. It's the very least I can do while you're risking your life. So please don't hesitate to lean on me. If that's not you, but you know somebody, don't hesitate to share the links with them. And I have a lot of exciting things coming up, and I hope you can join me. And then I will see you soon. And thank you so much for coming back into this. Bye. Thank you, Elanti. Thank you. Thank you. I just saw that. Thank you so much for your blessings. It really means a lot. Y'all, this was my music teacher from when I was like 9 years old. She just came online to say, God bless you. That means so much to me. Thank you so much, Elanti. Thank you. On that note, bye.